Rocky.
Annyeonghaseyo, everybody out there. Is Rocky here, and thank you as always for tuning into my channel. As promised, here is part 2, I guess you can call it, about what's Korea like and some of the things that no one really talks about in Korea, or things that you should be, you know, a little concerned about or look out for. Nonetheless, these are based off of all my experiences and other friends' experiences that live in Korea, so mine may not be yours. So have an open mind and take everything with a grain of salt. So some of the things that I didn't know about Korea, or wasn't necessarily a problem for me, not all of them at least, but you know, I had some concerns. Number one, the air quality there, or specifically on that side of Asia, is pretty bad. And what I mean by that is, like, as you guys know, there's yellow dust that travels from China, back and forth from China to Korea and even Japan. And if you have any breathing problems, certain seasons of the year, that dust can get really bad, and it can affect your breathing. So for me, I don't have asthma, but I do have chronic bronchitis, and I had times where I got what it will feel like I'm very sick, where I'm hawking up a lung. I was so loud, coughing everywhere. I had to wear a mask. So with that being said, I think it's a good idea to invest in a face mask in Korea. It's like 1,000 won, like $1, $2 there, €2 there, so it's not expensive. Make sure that it stays clean. You know, if you have makeup or any type of dirt throughout, you know, a long period of time, is going to get dirty, so wash it. But I use that whenever there were high warnings of air pollution. So the good thing about Korea is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Seoul Tower, if you have never been to Korea, but the Seoul Tower has lights, and actually some of the colors represent also the air quality meter, I guess you can say. So if it's green, I believe that means it's good air quality for the day. If it's yellow, I think it's moderate, and if it's red, that means like the air quality is really bad. This is like any other place, any other country, but I found, for me, germs and hygiene for me in Korea was very difficult to adjust to at first. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say anyone is you know, don't have good hygiene, or you know, they're dirty there, or Korea's dirty. Please don't interpret that way, because I would never be that disrespectful. I would rather keep that to myself. But there were cultural ways that I didn't really like. I'm not a fan of. I'm not gonna say I don't like it so much, where obviously I just don't have to go. You know, it's not my country, I don't have to go there. But it was a big adjustment. Number one, I've noticed that a lot of people in Korea sneeze and cough without covering their mouth. So be ready to deal with, you know, some individuals that do not cover their mouth when they're coughing or sneezing. And especially in tight places like on the subway, I've witnessed time after time again, young and old, people sneezing and coughing and just letting it go out in the air. And sometimes they don't even have face masks, so it's just all out. And I will be standing next to some guy, and I was on my phone, and he was like standing right in front of me, because certain hours on the subway, like anywhere else, it can be very packed. So he's standing right next to me, and I'm on my phone. I just happened to just look up, and he went in for a sneeze, and like sneezed this way and then down. No excuse me, no oh my god I'm sorry, no attempt. You know, he had room to pick up his arm. It was just, that's just how some people sneeze and cough there. And I was actually this close to spazzing. But like I said, I have to, when you go somewhere, you can't expect people to do and follow customs that you would, or the way you were raised from where you're from. You're gonna have to adjust or keep it moving. So what I did was keep it moving. I immediately walked away, cleaned myself off, and just dealt with it. Another thing I would say that you should just be a little mindful of, that's not all peachy and great, is foreigners tend to get gypped in Korea. And what I mean by getting gypped is, a lot of places of business or transportation, for example cab drivers, you will run into situations where you may not know, but they will jack their price up just because they know you're a foreigner, so they're expecting you to not know the price, and they're more than likely gonna think you're gonna pay the price that they're asking for. If you don't know, cabs in Korea are gone by a meter. The more they drive, that meter collects, well, the cost would go up. And I've had cab drivers where they would take me to somewhere I've gone 18,000 times in a cab, and some will try to go the longest route ever or go in circles as if I have no idea anything about where I am, and I would have to speak up in Korean and to tell them or ask them to go straight please, or turn this right, or please turn around, this is the wrong way, because they want that meter to go up. And when that meter goes up, you're gonna have to pay for that. And if you don't know how to express yourself in Korean or have someone in the car that knows that that's going on, you're gonna just be, you know, out of luck. So, you know, foreigners can get gypped, even at restaurants, certain like private small restaurants. And I didn't like that, but I think that's really anywhere, even here in the United States. Any foreigners that come here, you know, businesses are gonna jack their price up against them. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Cost of living, as far as like housing, to me is pretty expensive in Korea for the size of the apartments or rooms. So I had a goshawon, and those are like private, really small rooms. Literally, they're meant to be extremely small. And most foreigners stay there because it's easy. It's not as expensive, because when you want an apartment, you have to put down a big deposit. And if you don't have the intentions or the money to do that, you just get a goshawon or, you know, a goshotel stay. And the only thing about for me is that goshawons, like I said, are small. Now, my goshawon was $600 a month for a jail cell. Now, I was bugging because there are gonna be goshawons that are much cheaper for the same size. Like my friend lives right up the street in a different goshawon, and she only paid like $400, and hers was like twice as big as mine. And I'm just like, what the heck? So you got to do your research for places to stay. Depending on what part of Korea you're in, is going to be expensive. Obviously in a city like Seoul, living can be quite expensive for the size that it is, but just do your research and you may find like a good deal somewhere. Like you just got to be able to be there to check different places out. Okay, now that those things are out the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty of topics that a lot of people have asked me to speak on, and that's discrimination, racism, or anything along the lines of that subject. So my experiences I'm about to express to you guys are coming from a viewpoint of a foreigner, but then specifically coming from the viewpoints of being a person of color, a black person, or African American, whichever political term you see fit for you. Is there discrimination in Korea? Yes. Is it really bad? No. Like, I don't know. I think it depends on where you are, but it's there. Like, it's very obvious it's there, but it's not, I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as I feel in the United States. Like, that's just me personally, from my experiences that I grew up in the South and moving to the North for the rest of my life so far. I think discrimination and racism specifically is much bigger in the United States than in Korea. And I was shocked because Korea is a homogeneous society. You know, everybody is 9 times out of 10 Korean, of all Korean descent. So you're gonna be a sore thumb being from anywhere else going to Korea. And I thought that it was gonna be really bad in Korea, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. Do Korea have problems with diversity? Yes, you can tell just by their entertainment business, some of the issues that's been going on in Korea. But I don't think it was horrifically bad to the point where I felt it on a regular basis or anything like that. I've had experiences where I did go through some discrimination. There are places, restaurants, or sometimes clubs in Korea where they will have a sign that will specifically ban a certain group of people. It might literally say no black people on the sign, because soldiers, things happen with mainly black soldiers in Korea, unfortunately. So a business has every right to, I guess, just be like, you know what, I don't know who's gonna do what, let me just ban them. It sucks, but that's how that's gonna go. I had seen signs that said no Indians, no Arabs, so I guess some Indian or Arab must have like had an incident and they've just been judging all of them since. Guys, you can tell people, some people didn't want to be like next to you, or like wouldn't want to sit next to you on the train, or you know, you gave up your seat for an older person, they're like, and they don't want your seat, and they would rather get ready to keel over before they take your seat because they're just obviously prejudiced against you. But I usually felt though that type of thinking coming from that direct type of behavior coming from people who are much older. Younger people may have prejudiced thoughts, but I don't see them usually acting upon it, except for when they were like intoxicated. You're gonna see it more. But I was welcomed with open arms, especially by the youth in Korea, as a Black person. So, you know, obviously Black culture is heavily influenced in Korea at this point right now with K-pop and K-R&B. So they're more inclined to be open to a Black person. Last but not least, coming from what I felt in Korea, as you guys may or may not know, I have a video posted talking about depression state that I went through during Korea for like a month or two. That was really quick, but part of that depression was from feeling loneliness. So I don't know how long some of you are going to be in Korea for, but when you're looking at a month or past a month, you may get homesick naturally, just like if you go anywhere. But I felt like, as friendly as I am and how I felt about my Koreans weren't naturally approaching me to become my friend, which means you're gonna have a much smaller amount of friends. So if you don't make friends at your job, if you don't make friends at your school or make other foreign friends, you're gonna really be spending your time alone a lot in Korea. And you know, that could be pretty lonely, where you see a lot of people, you know, travel and hang out in groups, especially young people at night, and you're pretty much by yourself. I advise all of you who are going to Korea for a short time or a long time to make friends. Don't be afraid to go out, introduce yourself, or ask questions, or just say you want to be somebody's friend. Like whether it's in English or Korean, let them know you're new here, you're here as a student, or you're here working as a teacher, or whatever it is, and you want to hang out. Can we hang out? Can we go, to a cafe together? Can we go to a bar together? Can we go hang out tonight? Or anything like that. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to all types of people in Korea. That includes the foreign students, the foreigners, or Koreans themselves. Introduce yourself and get acquainted. Because I had a friend who went to my same college, and we both happened to go to Korea at the same time to the same school, and his Korean was much better than mine. But the point was, he was so confident in his Korean that he approached Koreans, and next thing you know it, within the first 3 weeks of school, this kid had so many friends that would hit him up to hang out and just speaking only in Korean. Even if he wasn't sure or confused about a subject or didn't know how to express himself, he would just keep speaking, and it was just so cool to see, to the point where I admired it, and I want to do that this time around going to Korea in a few months, where I need to break out that shell, speak to more Koreans than the ones I already knew or knew from the United States, and make it happen. Make this experience better than the last experience. So with all that being said, those are things I personally feel or experienced in Korea that should be, thought about or considered, or just be weary of. Also, just go there with a grain of salt and just take every experience as a lesson learned. I feel like overall your time in Korea is going to be very good and positive. You may go through things, you may see things, but just know that you're still okay. And I'm wishing for your travel to be the best. If any of you are going to be in Korea from September all the way down to Christmas or anything, let me know, because your girl will more than likely be in Korea at that same time too. Don't forget to give this video a nice thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys soon. Annyeong! Annyeong!